live and an hour and 20 minutes late.
So you were starting to wonder if we were still live.
But we're here in the parking lot of Sprouts Farmers Market. And it's Tuesday, parking lot Tuesday. And you don't know what we've gone through to be here this morning. Well,
Even
actually,
I don't know what we've gone through.
What have we gone through?
We were a little late probably because of class and
Yeah.
other things.
Okay,
Things
there she is.
Things that are none of your business.
None of your goddamn business. Oh, yeah, we had Monday night class last
We
night.
had 3 people.
Yes,
3. So that was
because Sacramento is such a small town that there's only 3 people that were interested in.
No, it's hard for people to get around here. Everything is inconvenient, so there is that.
Plus all of the Indigenous Peoples Day celebrations that were going on all around us. We had powwows. We had those South American people, the naked ones with all the feathers. They were dancing up and down H Street. They had poison blowguns. Okay, I'm being facetious. We had 3 wonderful people at class.
And being yes, it worked out fine. This class. Am I supposed to talk?
Well, this morning I posted one of our favorite old hippie days song that makes us both cry when we hear it, and that's the Jefferson Airplane White Rabbit. That the last line is,
Use your head.
yes.
And I tell you, it was good instructions, and it seemed to us that people were mostly, for a while there, in the golden age of hippiedom, feeding their heads with the purpose of consciousness expansion. And not just, oh God, I got so high, and I went to Disneyland, rode the, whatever it is.
We never got
Splashed out
into
30,000 times.
We never recreationally
No
partied on it or anything.
No.
Yeah.
If we were going to recreationally party, it would have been on my one martini before the baseball game kind of thing.
Yeah.
But the rest of
She's a cheap drunk.
I am. I don't even do, well, because I don't do it anymore. I'm even cheaper. Now
You're really cheap.
Now I have a half a cup of coffee in the middle of the afternoon.
Right, and you can't shut her up.
And,
Okay.
yeah, well, but at least I'm alone. I'm alone for an hour or so, completely. Otherwise,
And you're never wiser.
no. Then after I have my 1 cup of coffee,
Yes.
yeah, for a couple hours I'm wise. Because I don't do that recreationally either. I do it. I actually it's like a little prayer before, because coffee is strong, especially the way I make it. No, it's a drug. Anyway, we're talking about feeding your head today. I am anyway. I think Lon's going to somehow
I got some.
say that's
Yeah,
what
sure.
that's
Yeah.
about. Talk about feeding your head. And I've talked about this before. But I was raised Catholic too, and but not crazy strict Catholic or anything. But I do remember things like avoid the occasion of sin. I don't believe in sin.
And hang out with good friends.
And hang out with, keep good company, things like that. And that has to do with feeding your head too, in a kind of a strange sort of way. And I've been, oh God, that's not where I wanted to start. We watch, well, I had a friend at the library, her name was Nan, and I would say her last name, who worked at the library in Newport Beach, and she was a wonderful woman.
An older woman.
An older woman, older than me. She was a society lady, actually, and was on charity boards and everything, but she worked at the library part-time for Christmas money and stuff. She lived on Lido Island. She was just the most warm-hearted and smart and loving person. Anyway, we would talk about movies, and it'd be a scene. I worked at the library, well, about 25, 30 years ago. This was a long time ago. And I'd talk about movies, and I was younger than she was, and she says, "Oh, I can't see those kind of." I would see any kind of movie. For a while, then we were seeing all the movies, as many movies we could, at Academy Awards season. So we would watch the Academy Awards and make our own little ballots kind of thing and vote who we wanted to win. And so we would see movies that we wouldn't generally see, and anyway, I wouldn't generally see, even if they were violent or whatever. And she'd say, I can't put that kind of stuff in my head anymore. And she said, it just disturbs me for And I thought, oh, that's because she's older. That won't happen to me. It's art. I can get over it. Although it was already starting to bother me. And I did think about it seriously. And about 5 years later, I got the same way, where I didn't want to see I didn't want to see certain movies, and now I hardly ever go to a movie at all. Well, we don't go to movies anyway. But even if I had the choice of going to one cheaply down the street, I wouldn't go because they all affect me that way. They're a big. Your environment affects you more than you think. You think you're shutting it all out, but those commercials on commercial TV that flash by so fast you think nothing's happening. They're very they're subliminally. I mean, it doesn't take any conspiracy theory to tell you they're subliminally. They figured out how to make you want to buy stuff that you don't want. In fact, stuff that's even bad for you and you know it.
I want the chicken Big Mac, and I don't eat chicken or Macs.
And I don't watch. And he watches computer stuff where there's commercials, and I don't have time. I'm working all the time.
Yes.
I'm not sedentary. So anyway, that's the beginning of my story, and then I got to be. So I would notice that the local news, especially the nighttime news before you go to bed, if you're up late, the 11 o'clock news, is nothing but cheap police reports with violence that your neighbors in your neighborhood or in your town or in your state, violent things to make that they're just selling fear. They just sell fear constantly because it sells. And people become afraid and buy zillions of security systems and have street lights that you don't need. Everybody has around here is frightening. There's no darkness anymore. And a waste of electricity. You could have easily half the amount of lights in a town at night and still be totally safe and see where you're going.
But you digress.
No, I'm not. I'm feeding my head. So that I'm feeding my head. Now, when you said I digressed, I lost my train of thought.
Oh no, you were talking about the streetlights.
Yeah, no, it was before that though. There was a point. Anyway, the news. I was talking about the news.
Yes.
So I stopped watching any kind of news like that. Local news we'll watch when there's storm warnings or something. That's it. Or if they happen to have a political debate on or something, we'll watch a network show. Otherwise, we don't. We don't even have cable TV, but we have our little antenna kind of thing gets in. We can watch the political debates and a few things like that on network TV. And the network news I find is in a way to try to be unbiased. They don't tell you the story. Just watch the news when you're watching the news for an hour, and you'll find out how you think, oh, this is a story because it's all so bad. But the thing is, when you're through, have you learned anything? Is there any solution to this problem? No, there isn't. And who's to blame for it? Well, nobody can do anything because there's nobody to blame. That's just the way it is. And then you feel
Hopeless
and stupid. And let somebody else be in charge. I don't know what to do. I'll let somebody else be in charge. When actually you're quite capable of doing all these things. Just as capable as anybody else, any other schmuck that's been elected and on the take from business to make these decisions. So we cut our news things down, and you think, well, we watch Democracy Now! And a few other things. And Democracy Now! Is left-leaning, but it still has the facts. They're all Pulitzer Prize winning interviewees
Yeah,
they're all award winning people they have and they're right on the scene and they leave out most of the political crap. They really do. They leave out most of the political crap. It's War and Peace Report is what it really is, and that's what they say they are. And so you think they make you when you're through. The only way you lean is you say, "God, we got to have peace."
Yeah.
Because this war isn't working out no matter what. And in other places you think, well, we have to be on the right side and win this war. And they don't do that ever because there is no
that
right
don't
side.
happen.
There's no right side and it's never happened. Okay? So we're trying to feed our head even on that level, which is the basic level. And then, what do you read? And what company do you keep? And what kind of movies do you go to and stuff like that. I'm not saying restrict things, and if you're young enough to take it without it bothering you, fine, but realize that it is influencing you, even if it's not bothering you.
You mean when I watch Bone Tomahawk before bedtime?
That's why you don't wake up screaming?
No, I don't wake up screaming.
Yes, you do.
Oh, that's yes. That's just when I'm possessed with demons at night. But
I have nothing to say after that. Okay, and I'm going on too long, taking it too much of your show.
oh no.
And what you read. And I have this hour coffee break. I say that's when I do my inspirational reading or something that takes me completely somewhere else. And I don't do fantasy and I don't do fiction, so it's nonfiction somewhere else. So I kind of not afraid to do, I hate to say it, self-help kind of things. But anyway, Marianne Williamson was running for president. That's what I'm kind of getting to. And so I didn't really know anything about her except when I saw her in the debate, she seemed calm and peaceful. And I haven't seen any of her lectures or anything.
And it's just refreshing to see
somebody who wasn't hanging,
yeah,
a maniac.
right.
So I decided to go to the public library finally around here, went on the bicycle and ordered her book from her first book, I think. Well, no, it's not her first book, but I guess one of her, A Return to Love book. That's the title, Return to Love. And sounded like a nice, peaceful book. Get started with reading something that she's, something I feel about her. And so I'm starting to read it, and I'm only at about page 30 or 20 something. And of course I read the introduction and everything as well to the book. And I spend time with it. I don't just, I can speed read kind of through a magazine, but it's not the same thing as reading a book to get something out of it. Because I generally read a book with pencil and eraser and I have these fat white erasers they're German erasers, okay? And so when we're doing studying for class together, and I get out my pencil, and I don't read ever without a pencil, and Lon says, I need to borrow the German.
Where's the German?
Where's the German?
I gotta erase something.
He's got to erase something. Anyway, that's really a side thing.
That's a digression, right? If I ever heard one.
Get out the German. Anyway, it's a good German eraser is what it is. I have a whole pack of them. So anyway, I found out about her, and I'd say it's refreshing and calming and peaceful.
It's a good thing to feed your head with.
And different and not hard to understand. It's not, but it's not hokey self-help. And it's slightly Christian because what she's talking about is a book that's in that kind of terminology, but isn't Christian either. But it's just that kind of thought, in a way, sort of mystical love.
Well, it's like a commentary on that Course of Miracles thing, which is
but
really a wildly cool thing.
But we don't know what. We're not sure what that book is.
Yeah.
I'm reading it, but for about 10 years now, but I'm not sure what that book is. But anyway, so I just want to recommend to you to find something to feed your head. Always feed your head. Think about it. And even what you feed your body feeds your head too. I mean, if you're going to go out and buy some really junky thing, it's going to disturb your brain. Find out what kind of foods are good for your head, and try to give yourself a minute portion of that every day as well. And voting's coming up. I've been enjoying the signs everywhere. They're all so different. Like I think my favorite one lately has been it's even non-denominational. It says voting prevents unwanted presidencies. So I'm telling you to vote, but I don't vote. I would never tell you who to vote for. I just want you to think about it seriously and realize how hard or stupid it is to vote for just the lesser of two evils. I'll say that. It usually ends up being the same, not working out the way you think it is. But yeah, I still would. I don't care about that either, because I don't know what's going to happen. But I don't know where I put it.
Your little notes?
Yeah, I wrote my and I took it out, and now I lost
Ooh,
it.
you're in your cool purse there.
It's first. I brought the quotations.
Did it fall down there? This is the floor of our car there. There's I Ching.
Oh, don't look.
Some
Like
math.
everybody's floor of their car. The I Ching.
Got a I Ching there. Got a book of Thoth. Okay. All right.
Okay, I found it. I just found a couple of quotes from the book because I can't write in the book. It's a library book, so I write down little quotes, and I just grabbed it this morning and said, this can't hurt to tell other people. They may not want to read this book because it's a little bit,
Yeah.
it's a little bit of maybe it's too much of a piece of fluff, although I'm old enough to say, okay,
Fluff is.
fluff
The older I get, the heavier fluff becomes.
that's right.
It's just because I'm weak. Boy, that's a heavy bag of fluff.
Well, here's one. It's about what you think. So that's why I'm feeding my head today. Thought is cause. Experience is effect. If you don't like the effects in your life, you have to change the nature of your thinking.
Oh,
So what you're asking for is simply a change in perspective, which will change the nature of your thinking, which will change the nature of your actions. Okay? And love in your mind produces love in your life. Fear in your life produces fear in your life.
yeah. Duh.
Oh, fear in your mind produces fear in your life. So, yeah. Fear in your mind produces fear in your life. So anyway, love in your mind produces love in your life. So I'm trying to feed my head with love in my mind today.
Oh,
And, I'm going to enjoy reading this book slowly.
that's why people always smile at you in the grocery stores. And you're like a ray of sunshine in a cold, cruel world.
No, I'm really not. I'm very...
Oh, sunshine always says that. Anyway, well,
Anyway, I work on it, but I don't succeed very well.
well, thank you very much, dear. And it's I don't know how long I'm going to hold forth today, but it's right here. I'm going to turn the thing around.
Please.
Okay.
Want me to pick up your books for you?
Yeah, thank
Want me
you.
to carry your books home from school for you?
Yes.
Want me to type
Did
it?
I ever carry your books home from school?
Honey, I walked. You didn't. You never walk.
I had a Volkswagen bus.
I had feet.
You had feet. Okay. Well, oh, you're going to need to get in the back seat there?
what? No,
Okay.
I am prepared.
Okay.
You want something under your...
No, I'm fine.
All right.
Oh, well, goodbye. Do what thou wilt shall be the whole of the law.
Love is the law. Love under will.
There you go. Okay. No, I'm still here. Is anybody out?
Out there after that?
Is anybody out there after that? Hello?
Did anybody laugh through that?
Anyway, the idea of feeding your head got kind of interested me this morning because not only because of the Jefferson airplane thing, which I just absolutely love, but the fact that I sort of knew where Constance was going to generally go today in her words. And there is a I Ching hexagram, and if I can find it, it is number 27, okay? And here is a little image of it. So it's made of 2 trigrams, okay? The bottom one is fire. So that'd be like wands, things like that. And the top one is earth. And can you kind of see why the bottom one's fire there? Because just imagine a campfire that's on the ground, and then the flames aren't solid; they sort of flicker up like that. And the top one's earth, because there's the crust of the earth on top, and then underneath there's water tables and there's molten stuff underneath. It's not all just solid crust and bedrock. So that's earth of fire, and earth of fire is in the tarot. That mix of elements would be the princess. Princesses are the earth element, and the wands are the fire. So that's hexagram 27, and it's called the corners of the mouth, or nourishment. And can you see how that's sort of like an open mouth there? And I drew lips on the top line and the lower lip there on the bottom, so it looks, you can see it's like that, okay? And it has a very interesting commentary, and I'm going to share that with you, at least one of them. Princesses in the tarot don't rule quadrants of time. The princess, her 3 other relatives, the Night Queen and her brother Prince, each ruled 20 degrees of one sign of the zodiac to 20 degrees of another. So between all 4 suits, you've got the whole year covered, okay? In increments of 20 degrees of one sign to 20 degrees of the next sign, 20 degrees of that to 20, okay? But the princesses, okay, the earth quality of her suit does not share that same responsibility of a 30-degree period. As a matter of fact, the princesses and the ace, the spirit ace of the suit, go together. They're a couple. More accurately, the princess is the throne of the ace. The ace has no bed to lay in if it wasn't for a princess of the same suit. Okay, so in a way you could look at it like the alpha and the omega, but it's more than that. The ace and the entire suit that the ace encompasses would not have any place to be without the princess. Okay, so it's a pretty damn heavy concept, these princesses. So the instead of ruling those quadrants of time, they instead, if you imagine yourself on a helicopter, okay, just hovering over the North Pole, and then in your mind, imagine the entire belt of the zodiac surrounding you. Okay, then picking the fixed signs of the zodiac. There's 4 of them, one for each element: fire, water, air, earth, or wands, cup, sword, disc. And using that as the center line, and now we're dealing in spatial things rather than in time things. You would have the ace and the princess ruling the area, looking down from your helicopter there, looking down over the North Pole and spreading out a whole quadrant, pie piece. The general area of Asia would be the wands, or attributed to fire. And then like there, I've got Asia. I should have written it backwards for this morning here. There's Asia. Then over here, the next quarter is the area of the Pacific. And that is the ace and princess of cups represents that area of the Pacific. And continuing on, there is the area of the Americas, North and South America. That would be the swords, ace and princess of swords. And then Europe and Asia would be discs. Okay, that's the princesses. Okay, they are compared to the other court cards. The ace and the princess are sort of transcendent. Okay. The Princess of Wands is that corners of the mouth. And that's what she looks like in Crowley's deck. And here's what he says in the Book of Thoth. The Princess of Wands represents the earthy part of fire. One might say she's the fuel of fire. This expression implies the irresistible chemical attraction of the combustible substance. She rules the heavens, like Lon said, for 1 quadrant of the portion around the North Pole. The princess is therefore shewn with plumes of justice streaming like flames from her brow. She is unclothed, showing that chemical action can only take place when the element is perfectly free to combine with its partner. She bears a wand crowned with the disk of the sun, and she is leaping in a surging flame which recalls by its shape the letter Yod. This card may be said to represent the dance of the virgin priestess of the Lords of Fire, for she is in attendance upon a golden altar. I don't know if you can see that very well, but it's ornamented with ram's heads symbolizing the fires of spring. Now he goes on to describe the character, the emotional, even the physical attributes of a person who could be represented by the Princess of Wands. But and of course you could, if you're a tarot reader and you're looking for a significator card for a client, and you take a look at her, and she's a fiery character, as Crowley describes, who can be a handful And if she's ill-dignified, she can just be a crazy ass thorn in your side. In my description of her, I say, when you play with me, you play with fire. Okay. But I'm going to go on here. She can be unreliable and cruel and faithless and domineering. But that's based on her elemental mixture, not her zodiac sign. Okay. The other court cards, they have a certain Myers-Briggs personality admixture that characterizes them. This is something else, okay? In the I Ching, the earthly part of fire is described by the 27th hexagram. I, just I, okay? It shows a person omnivorous in passion of whatever kind, entirely reckless in the means of obtaining gratification, and insatiable. Actually, I don't find that in the commentary. The I Ching commentary is packed with alternate warnings and encouragement. Well, maybe that's so in the leg translation that Crowley was using. I use, and now with Benny Bill Wynn's wonderful I Ching edition, I use that as well. But this is the one I've used for the last 60 years, okay, the Wilhelm Baines. And I'm going to read you the corners of the mouth, Nourishment. And I'll kind of close with that. The hexagram is a picture of an open mouth. Above and below are the firm lines of the lips, and between them the opening. Starting with the mouth, through which we take food for nourishment, the thought leads to nourishment itself. Nourishment of oneself, just like Constance was talking, specifically of the body, is represented in the 3 lower lines. 3 upper lines represent nourishment and care for others in a higher spiritual sense. Okay, technically, here's the judgment. The corners of the mouth. Perseverance brings good fortune. Pay heed to the providing of nourishment, and to what a man seeks to fill his own mouth with. Okay. Now I'm going to read the little comments here. In bestowing care and nourishment, it's important that the right people should be taken care of, and that we should attend to our own nourishment in the right way. Now, many of the I Ching comments are counseling somebody who is in a position of authority or of influence. The character referred to as the great man, we could sort of look at generally as being God, okay? But the superior man or the superior men are people who are acting or attempting to behave in a way that is superior, morally, spiritually, ethically, to their fellows who are less superior, okay? If we wish to know what anyone is like, we have only to observe on whom he bestows his care and what sides of his own nature he cultivates and nourishes. Constance's comment, her mother, Catholic mother's comments about be picky about the company you choose. Okay. The great man fosters and takes care of superior men in order to take care of all men through them. Mencius says about this, and he quotes Mencius in his book, He wrote that book in like 380 BC. Okay, let's see. If we wish to know whether anyone is superior or not, we need to only observe what part of his being he regards as especially important. The body has superior and inferior, important and unimportant parts. We must not injure important parts for the sake of the unimportant, nor must we injure the superior parts for the sake of the inferior. He who cultivates the inferior parts of his nature is an inferior man. He who cultivates the superior parts of his nature is a superior man. It's so simple. It's so straightforward. Now there's an image that's assigned to this. And remember, I showed you there's fire and there's earth. Okay. The image at the foot of the mountain, thunder. The image of providing nourishment. Thus the superior man is careful of his words and temperate in eating and drinking. The Mencius goes forth and says, God comes forth in the sign of the arousing, that's fire over fire. When in the spring the life force stirs again, all things come into being anew. He brings to perfection in the sign of keeping still, that's earth of earth. Okay, that's another hexagram. Thus, in the early spring, that would be the princess of discs. Okay. Thus, in early spring, when the seeds fall to earth, all things are made ready. This is an image of providing nourishment through movement and tranquility. The superior man takes it as a pattern for the nourishment and cultivation of his character. Words are a movement going forward from within outward. Eating and drinking are movements from without inward. Both kinds of movement can be modified by tranquility. For tranquility keeps the words that come out of the mouth from exceeding proper measure, and keeps the food that goes in the mouth from exceeding its proper measure. Thus, character is cultivated. Okay, there is so much more, as in every I Ching hexagram. There's commentaries and exegesis on each of the things. Crowley wrote what he called a translation. Well, it's sort of Crowley's I Ching of Milo, only it was Crowley's I Ching of Crowley. And for 27 he wrote, Nourishment, the matter and the mode. Demand that thought should indicate the road. Suffice thyself, else how thy, I had to copy it down, how thy, well, shall, God, I can't even read my own writing here. Look neither down nor up, the sages say. All nourished action merely means of fray. But lo, behold, bleats the tiger prey. Improper method, firm and cautious stay. Be thou who nourishest all, may cross the river. Okay, you'll have to look that up to get it right, because I was trying to read that, which I wrote in the last parking lot. Anyway, that's it for today. It's as you can hear, they're coming to get me. So who knows where I'll be broadcasting from tomorrow. Until then, continue to be good to yourself, be good to each other, and watch the fuck what comes out of your mouth and what goes in it. Love is the law, love under will.